Shyboy616 and welcome to the first episode of Shyboy616 Views. This will be my review show. And for our first review, we have the movie Lords of Chaos. For those of you that don't know, this movie is a biopic about the metal band Mayhem, a very infamous and popular black metal band. The announcement of this movie was already kind of iffy with people, as it was said to be based off of the book of the same name. People really didn't like the book, except maybe the parts that they had interviews with Varg, someone that was actually a part of the scene at the time of what they were talking about. This movie is specifically focused on the band Mayhem with their leader, Euronymous. Real name, Oyster Narcissist. When this movie finally came out, it was kind of mixed response. I think the more hardcore elitist fans, I know that's kind of a lame term, but seeing as I've been a part of the metal community on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and even iFunny, I know what I'm talking about. Those guys are really butthurt over this movie, especially with the way certain people are portrayed, but more on that in a bit. To let you know how this review will end, I will be giving two ratings, my personal rating and a critical rating. That's just because something I like doesn't necessarily mean it's a great movie, or if I hate something doesn't mean it's a bad movie. I can still see if something was made well. Enough talking, let's just jump right into Lords of Chaos. I think that was one complaint, being part of Vice Films. Don't know anything about any of the other studios though. You know what? You gotta give them this though. Most movies will just stop at the based on a true story and then proceed to lie to you. I don't know why they needed this last bit. And what actually, isn't that already kind of covered in saying based on truth? So the movie opens up with Euronymous being a little pessimistic about a happy, jolly, good old Christian Norway. After this introduction of Norway, we finally get to Mayhem itself with Euronymous. You'll notice it's actually like kind of a narration sort of thing going on. It's kind of hit or miss with movies, but I feel like it does perfectly fine here, especially since they don't really give dates for anything. Having the voiceover is pretty helpful with knowing what's going on and where you're at. One of the things that this movie was really good at was recreating actual images that Mayhem took. This one right here, it's obviously not being shown as a picture, but there is a picture of Euronymous with his, what is that? Bird creature. I don't remember what. Cockatoo? I don't know, I'm not messing with that. Here we meet the rest of Mayhem. Alongside Euronymous, we also have Mannheim, the drummer, and the bassist, Necro Butcher.
Cut him. What?
You'll notice these guys are kind of edgelords, and yes, you can thank these guys for that whole culture. The only difference between the edgelords now and these guys actually did some seriously messed up stuff, alright? And you'll get to see every bit of it in this movie.
Fuck you!
Pretty cool bit here, we actually get to start hearing some of their actual music. I'm not sure if these guys actually knew how to play or anything, but it looks believable enough, so I'll give them a pass on that. More photo recreations here, pretty good. We now see Mannheim leaves.
Laters. So we upgraded with this handsome fellow, Jan Axel, aka Hellhammer.
Another cool bit about this part, we actually get to hear the song Death Crush.
So now I got the best drummer in Norway, a mad kick-ass bass player. Did one more thing to complete the band, a strong frontman and lead singer.
It doesn't take too long to get a response for a new singer. They get this special envelope addressed from Transylvania from some dude named Dead.
Oh, it's fucking disgusting.
This dude's a freak. He is obsessed with death. After meeting their singer, they move into a house, and this is where they start rehearsing. After spending about a year in the house together, they become pretty good friends. In this scene, Euronymous walks into Dead's room and grabs a shotgun outside his door. Why does he have the shotgun? I don't know. When Euronymous first grabs the shotgun, he points it at Dead's head, telling him,
You know, there's a way out if you're so fucking depressed. One shot to the head and it's all over.
I don't think that's the thing you really should say to your friends. So we have a whole scene of him getting Dead out of his room and to go chase a cat around the woods with the shotgun. And while they're in the woods, after losing track of the cat, Dead grabs the shotgun, pointing it to his head, telling Euronymous to pull the trigger. After that whole ordeal in the woods, we cut to this party that they're holding at their house. We get to see Euronymous and Dead in their corpse paint for the first time. Dead is trying to hype up Euronymous to go out into the party.
We are the Lords of Chaos, destroyer of worlds. No?
So here we are introduced to a girl. I honestly don't know her name. I'm pretty sure they just say it in the scene. I am gonna refuse to remember her name because I'm pretty sure they never say it again. And if you recognize her, you might have seen The Green Inferno by Eli Roth. And I didn't mention it before, but the guy playing Euronymous is in fact a Culkin. What's a Culkin? You know Macaulay? This one's Rory. One thing I noticed about these guys, they all look the same. They have the exact same face. No matter what, you're gonna recognize them. People even made jokes about this in here. If I found it, here's a joke poster someone made. Not the best, but I mean, got a laugh out of me. When Euronymous goes into the house to get some drinks, he bumps into this dorky dude wearing a battle jacket covered in patches. This guy's gonna actually be really important to the story pretty soon. So the party continues on from here, and that's kind of it. This is all leading up to their first performance, introducing Dead as their vocalist, the fully formed band Mayhem. While backstage we get more of Dead being dead. He's inhaling this brown paper bag. To do what, you might ask? He's inhaling death. Otherwise, he's sniffing a dead bird in there. Yeah. Really dedicated, this man. And it's actually around here is one of my favorite parts in the movie. We get to see them go on stage and perform Freezing Moon, which is pretty cool. The sequence is actually done, I feel, really well. We get shot to the stage from the dude's camera, audience, but a few interesting things happen during the show. You notice on stage they're carrying around this inverted cross, and when they were loading up the trucks, you saw some pig heads. They stuck them on pikes and put them on stage, but this wasn't enough for Dead. The movie does pretty good at staying true to what Mayhem really did on stage. Dead pulls out a knife and begins cutting himself on stage, bleeding all over the audience. Pretty gross, but for some reason, everyone's into it. Dead gets so into this performance, he even throws the pig head at them. And I feel like some of these dudes are eating the pig's head. I don't know why you would do that. Pretty sure this is how you get some diseases. The show is now over, and the band goes to celebrate at a restaurant. Dead is taped up over his scars, looking pretty freaked out. While we're here, some of their friends, or audience, fans, I don't know what the hell they call them, they were at the restaurant with them celebrating, and they're practically worshipping these guys, telling them that they're the greatest band ever. Euronymous, being the king of darkness he is, says they're more than just a metal band, and what they play is true Norwegian black metal. The dorky dude we saw earlier at the party is here too. We get to find out his name's Christian.
Scorpions.
Not the best joke he could have done, but it really hit home with Christian. I meant that literally. Here he is in his, I guess, apartment, wearing corpse paint. You see that he threw away his scorpion's patch and even starts playing with a sword. He really took that to heart. Now this next bit, I don't think I'm gonna show a whole lot of the scenes. It's really graphic. It's also very true to what happened. This part is Dead suicide. We see every little bit, and I mean every little bit of what he did. He starts off slitting his wrists open, both of them, and then he goes and writes a note while he's bleeding out. The note's actually true to what he said. After writing this note, he then slits his throat, and then finally ends it all with the shotgun shell to the head. Actually, correction. He writes the note after slitting his throat. In my mind, for some reason, I remembered the note being before, probably just because it makes more sense. Ish. I mean, if anything, I should have written the note before. Another interesting thing about how this scene was put together, there's no soundtrack or anything. It's all just diegetic sound. Everything that's happening in the scene. So it's pretty uncomfortable. While this is happening, it's interspersed with cuts of Euronymous getting ready to go to the house to go see Dead. So once Euronymous finally breaks his way into the house, he sees Dead on the bed.
Dead in the bed.
He freaks out for a bit, but then he does something that I don't think anyone would ever do or should ever do. He goes out, gets a disposable camera, comes back, arranges the shotgun, the body, to take pictures. This would soon become one of the most infamous album covers of all time. Now Euronymous arranges a meeting with the band. Hellhammer went to go pick up the photos that were developed, and Euronymous is pretty excited to show these off and show where Mayhem goes next. Seeing that it's pictures of their dead friend's corpse, Necro Butcher's not too excited about this. He takes it a step further by giving them necklaces made with bits of Dead's skull. If for any reason you find me dead, please do not make jewelry out of my body parts. I don't care how close we were, do not do that. And it'll be kinda cool out. Maybe you can take like teeth or something. Necro Butcher is really sickened by this. He is very understandably upset by this. But Euronymous isn't having it. They want to be the darkest, most brutal. I don't even know if he wants to be a band at this point. Whatever he wants to be, they gotta be doing messed up shit like this all the time. Necro Butcher's not having it. So when Euronymous tries to kick him out of the band, he's like, you know what? Fine, I'm out. And as he's storming out, Euronymous calls him replaceable. And that might be true. And he's a bassist. And now moving on to the next chapter of his life, Euronymous opens up Helvete, a very famous and well-known record shop, specifically for all things metal. It is here he finally establishes the Black Circle, his inner circle of friends and fellow bandmates within the scene of Norwegian black metal. Our boy Christian is back, and he's loading up. This time he's got a tape that says Birdsome on it. He goes to Euronymous' shop and does a little record shopping, taking note of his poser music there that we've talked about before.
Why do you sell this shit?
Euronymous tells him to find the true stuff, you gotta know where to find it. And I guess he found it, because Jonas even tells him that record he grabbed is part of his label, Death Like Silence. During this whole interaction, we find out Christian isn't Christian anymore. What do I mean by that? He has a new name. And I don't think there's ever any explanation of where he got this name from, but Euronymous seemed to like it. And if you didn't know who this was already, you either A, didn't know anything about the scene to begin with, or B, you forgot this was the dude's actual name. This is, of course, Varg. If you know black metal, you definitely know about Varg. So I guess Euronymous goes into his office or whatever it is, and Varg goes in to have a talk with him.
Want some?
Oh no, I don't eat meat.
Like Hitler.
Euronymous shows him a map of where he's gotten demos from all over the world. Euronymous starts to do some more of his anti-Norway Christian ranting again, even saying that these churches should be burned down. After this, we have another photo session with the Black Circle, recreating more photos, and it's during this nice little hangout Varg finally gives Euronymous his demo tape he packed up earlier. No wonder I went deaf for a bit, forgot to put my headphones back on. So I guess it's the next day after the little party when Varg gave him the tape. There's really no sense of time this movie. I'm just assuming almost every transition is like the next day, which isn't the case. And if there is a big time, they usually tell you. Anyways, Euronymous finally listens to the demo tape, and he loves it. He's even saying that he had the same feeling as when he heard Dead's demo tape for the very first time. Varg, he lives some ways away, so he spent the night out in his car outside the record shop. Euronymous goes out to see him, telling him he loved the tape, but one problem.
I'm broke.
In response, Varg insists his mother will pay. And she did. So then not too long after being accepted to the label, they go and record Birdsom's first album in the studio.
I want one microphone in the center of the room, nothing else.
I guess he knew what he was doing because too many metal bands followed suit in what is now known as lo-fi recording. And with this, Varg is now officially a part of the Black Circle. Now they're back with their friends, celebrating the recording of Varg's first album as the band Birdsome. Once again, during this scene we see that girl's act. She pops up a lot, and I wasn't gonna say it before, but she wasn't real. She was made up specifically for the movie, so some people, I imagine, would be bothered by this. That, however, is not the focus of the scene. It's during this they announce to everyone in the Black Circle. I guess all these people are supposed to be part of it, or at least close enough to it. I don't know. They don't name any of these guys, but they tell them about Varg's album and how it's a part of Euronymous' label. When they start asking him about shows or anything, Euronymous very quickly shoots it down, to which Varg seems a little confused. And then they get into this whole thing again about how shows and all that is for the life metal kids, you know, the death metal kids. Which, funny thing, I'm pretty sure Dead was in a death metal band while he was in Sweden before he finally came to be in Mayhem, but we're not going to talk about that, obviously. Varg says a pretty cringy, stupid joke about the death metal kids.
We should put him in the showers and gas him to death.
You'll notice this movie likes to pick on Varg a lot, which is kind of weird considering my understanding. I haven't read it. The book, a lot of the material that was like firsthand was with Varg, so I don't know if this is jab at stuff because what Varg's done since then or whatever, but I don't know, it's a little funny, and I imagine this is what some people were bothered by, but I'm cool with it. Yeah, remember how I said that thing about this girl? Yeah, you can already tell what they're trying to force. So for whatever reason, Euronymous decided to take with him Varg and the girl back to his lair in Helvete. She starts making fun of him a little bit, to which Euronymous, always quick to defend his image. The girl's telling him it's a pretty stupid image, and she knows they're just copying Venom. To which Venom even said it was never real. But to Euronymous, oh, all of this is very, very real. After this, Varg starts getting creepy, which it's kind of weird. At this point, he hasn't really done anything, and he's barely a part of the Black Circle. He hasn't done anything to gain him any clout within the circle at all. But he starts getting weird really quick. While they're chilling there, he tells the girl,
Take off your clothes.
for whatever reason she does. At the record shop, Faust gets up and says how he'd like to find out how it feels to stab a knife into someone. To which Euronymous says, go find out. The postman comes in to deliver Varg's new album. It's finally been printed, it's ready to be sold in store. Varg takes a look at it. He's already a little upset with what they got. Some of the track names are not what he said they were. Spell Destruction, for some reason, is now Black Spell Destruction. Euronymous quickly translates that, no, they didn't print that wrong. I told them to do it. You'll notice Euronymous does this a lot, taking charge and taking credit for a lot of things. As they're getting the album, Varg is saying to Euronymous, they need to let people know the album is out. This needs to sell. Euronymous says he doesn't have any ideas, to which Varg is pretty upset by that, seeing as it's supposed to be his label, right? But Varg has something in mind. What the hell's with the dead animal, dude? Well, goddamn. I guess for the right people, your album will sell. Y'all, it's getting a little hot. I'm gonna take this off. You remember that little talk Varg and Euronymous had about burning churches? Well, Varg just went and fucking burned a church. And now it's all over the news. Euronymous, of course, is shocked, but he's honestly very, very excited. Back at Helvete, Euronymous brings in a newspaper telling everyone the good news. Varg burned the church down. Euronymous, of course, in telling this, he says, I told him to go do it. And by God, he did it. Or should I say, by Satan? I'm sorry. Everyone starts calling Varg their hero. Yep, you heard it, Varg. The hero of the Black Circle. Yeah, that Scorpions patch dude, so I think the moral of the story here is, don't make fun of dudes that like scorpions. Varg finally shows up, and then everyone's congratulating him. Euronymous, of course, says, we did it. Emphasis on the we. Varg doesn't say anything, but he's very clearly upset by Euronymous saying this. Euronymous obviously wasn't the one that went to go do this. He might have said something, but did he do anything? No. So also while we're here at this meeting, Varg kind of throws a fit, punching that dude that's been going around like, ah, Satan! I am not throwing out the same hand gesture he did, because, well, Varg says it for me.
Fake fucking Nazi.
And it's after this assertion of dominance, Varg starts taking over, becoming king of the Norwegian black metal scene. And this whole montage of Euronymous telling us about what Varg's been up to, how he's been getting hella pussy, and it's just getting more and more hardcore and evil. For a long time, I didn't know this stage name. I knew Grishnak. I didn't know when Varg added this, he had the name Griffy Grishnak. I don't know what the hell that is. He tends to use this one a lot more than you would think he would. So to keep up with Varg, Euronymous decides to make him the bass player of Mayhem. Varg says to Euronymous, we should go burn one together. I think we all know what that means.
I'm out of here.
This time, Varg isn't alone. Euronymous did in fact tag along to do this, see it through. While we're in here, Varg finally has his own little rant about how Christians ruin this land, taking it away from the pagans or whatever the hell. Whatever this guy feels like he believes. And to take this one out,
Wait, is that a fucking... Yes.
and they run outside and wait for the timer to go down. And he does this cute little countdown.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6, 6, 3, 2, 1.
To no surprise, the bomb didn't work, so they go back in to see what's wrong. Jonas decides to take action. They start tearing up Bibles, and he lights them on fire. They then go out and celebrate together. This is honestly, if it weren't for this horrible crime they just committed, you know, arson, for the sake of fuck you Christians, this would honestly be like the sweet moment in most other movies with these guys getting along after being so like, just like fighting each other almost all the time without actually getting aggressive. After that whole burning thing, we now cut to Faust going out to a bar. He starts looking around and he sees this guy take a look back at him, and He looks like he wants some Faust action, you know? He gets up and leaves, and then this creepy old dude decides to follow. You're gonna see why that was a bad idea in a second here. Here's some Shyboy 616 advice. Don't do this, even if it looks like someone's into you. Don't follow them out into the street. There's many bad outcomes from this. This is just one of them. So this dude is rushing fast. He wants that Norwegian booty, right? Freaking like, he is not wasting any time. Faust is very noticeably uncomfortable with this, but he lures him over into the bushes where they can't be seen. It's night. You're kind of an idiot and asking for it if you're doing this shit. Now here we are in another scene. I'm not sure I can show you too many clips because it, once again, very graphic. And it's done very similar to how Dead Suicide was handled earlier. This time though, we don't have cuts back and forth between this and something else. We focus on the murder the entire time. Yeah, murder. Faust pulls out a knife on this dude, pushing him away, takes the knife, stabs into the guy. And you think that would be it after what he said? Yeah, remember what he said in Record Shop? How he wants to feel how it is to put a knife in someone? Yeah, I didn't word that very good. I'm talking about murder. He stabs this dude a lot. And you're not even sure if he's enjoying this. It's really creepy. I'm genuinely uncomfortable at this scene. So yeah, this is a lot freakier than anything I've seen in any recent horror movies. So good job. He finally decides to end his stabbing, wiping the knife on the dude, walking away, leaving him there. So now, once again, we're back on that whole the next day thing, I guess. Jonas and Varg are walking to the shop, and Varg is asking when he's getting his money for all these records he's been selling. And quickly get over this because, yeah, remember that last scene? We need to talk about that. Faust is in the shop already. I guess he is like the one employee he has there, and that's why he's always hanging around. I don't know, they don't really explain it because obviously his part's not as big as everyone else's. But the murder is now on TV, and just like when Varg burned down the church, they're excited and want to celebrate. How do guys in the Black Circle celebrate their crimes? There's only one thing to do. They go and burn another church. Yeah, original guys. This time though, it's Varg, Euronymous, and Faust. Seeing as this was done to congratulate Faust, he's the one that gets delighted this time. Before they do that, they tear stuff up, piss on the altar, you know. Things a lot of people might think about. What's different this time is Euronymous is mostly standing back and just watching. He's not really getting into it like when it was him and Varg. Afterwards, they go out and celebrate again. Euronymous here, he looks like he's actually celebrating with them, so we're not really seeing a turn or change in him quite yet. Now we cut to a point later where they're all meeting their group of friends once again. This time, they're congratulating them over the church they just burned, but Euronymous has a little something else to tell them. He tells them that Faust killed somebody. So Euronymous once again starts taking a bit of credit in something he did not have anything to do with. He says that Faust followed his advice and did that, and now they gotta lay low. After this, we see Euronymous move into a new place. He is deciding he wants to continue on with his music, trying to ignore everything else. At this point, he's paranoid about police watching him, so to get his mind off that, he decides to get back into the whole music part of being in a, you know, a band. We didn't have another little sequence of him recreating actual photos that Euronymous took. The one thing that's I feel like must have annoyed people was that the photographer was that girl that didn't exist. So once again, this next scene I can't show cause nudity. Yeah, these two go and have sex. This is set up by Euronymous kissing her during the photo session. Not really much to say about that bit. What is worth noting, however, is after. Euronymous falls asleep and he starts having nightmares about him and Dead when they were running around in the woods. During this little dream sequence, we have a cut back to when he was standing over Dead's body. Not long after, he wakes up, and then we see that the girl is looking through some of his old photos that he took when Dead was in the band. Now, Mayhem is getting ready to record their studio album. And who the hell is this guy? Do they say his name? I'm actually not even sure if they say who this is. But that's Attila. Well, actually, little trivia for you. That is apparently Attila's son. Yeah, the actual vocalist Mayhem, that's his son playing him. So pretty cool. So while they're outside waiting to record, they're finalizing the album art, and this time they decided to use the biggest cathedral in Norway to be the album cover. Varg is saying to add on to them making this their cover, that they should blow it up after.
Wait, blow it up?
Not everyone else seems on board with this. They don't show how they got their new singer, but he obviously, or apparently, wasn't really in on this part of the Black Circle. He's just kind of here to be in the band. Varg and Euronymous start arguing again, but this time Varg is trying to make a point of what Euronymous had been saying earlier. Like, you're the one that said we should have started burning all these churches down. I'm the one that took action. I think this is the first time that Varg finally starts saying, he's like, you know what? You're not all that great. I'm the one that's actually doing everything. Another cool bit about this part, we actually get to hear some of Mayhem, some of the tracks that had Attila on it, which people like to make fun of his vocals. I think the best person I ever read was, he sounds like Dave Mustaine if he was like a frog or something. And if you listen to Megadeth, you know what they're talking about. So now we cut to, well, everyone's back at home. Varg is sitting around like a weirdo at the... What is this desk setup, dude? You got the cable going across the whole room? Like, what is that? Who does that? Anyways, he calls up Euronymous, telling him he's gonna go public with everything that Black Circle has done. Euronymous, of course, is trying to talk about it. He's like, dude, we committed crimes. We don't want to go to jail over this. Are you kidding me? We're now at what's probably the funniest part of the movie. I didn't mention it before, but I actually got to go see this movie in theaters. It wasn't a widespread release, it was like this random theater downtown, so it was actually pretty cool. It felt more like I went to a concert though, like everyone was wearing all black, some guys had corpse paint, and the girls in fishnets, like everything. It felt like I was at a metal concert rather than just this like indie movie. Everyone was laughing their ass off at this scene. So you could tell these were definitely the people that weren't so, black metal true, like they weren't those guys. They were the people that liked the music, liked the style, so a little more like me, a little more relaxed. I'll admit, I was like super into Mayhem for a while, but I never got as bad as some of the dudes that hate this movie. Of his many names, what does Varg decide to go by? Griffy Grishnak. The reporter doesn't understand him though, and he's like, what? Okay. He decides, he's like, you know, just call me the Count. The reporter, of course, is when he's like, why the hell did you call me? What am I here for? He tells him about the Black Circle, and he knows who burned the church down. The guy that came with the reporter, his photographer, starts trying to take pictures, to which Varg says, nope, we can't do that. He's still trying to hide his identity. He's not trying to go to jail. He just wants the Black Circle to be public so their music can be more evil or whatever the hell. So he asks him, he's like, so why'd you burn the churches down? And Varg's answer is to try to bring him back to Odin, whatever. I'm not sure what that would mean. But then the reporter starts thinking, it's like, so you're a Satanist? Is anything here pagan? And a Nazi, like, Varg tells him, he's like, nah, it works, man. It just works. Another thing about this, the whole time, you can tell Varg is like trying way too hard to be all dark and mysterious, but to the reporter and the photographer, he just looks like a moron. And it's because of that, the reporter finally decides, like, you know what, we're gonna leave. You're not telling me anything new that we couldn't find before. But then Varg says, like, no, I know stuff the news could have never told you before. And he brings up that dead rabbit he left. Yeah, I don't know what the rabbit symbolizes. Maybe that's more in line with his pagan views, or maybe it's more the satanic animal sacrifice. I don't know. And clearly when they're doing the Satanism stuff here, it's not like the Levian Satanism where it's technically just atheism with rules. It's more of the theistic Satanism, where you're actually worshipping, you know, the dude with the horns himself. Yeah. So then after this, reporter decides to give in, take some photos. They recreate some more birdsome photos. I'm not sure if this is how he actually got the photos, but they did a pretty good job again with recreating them. Talking out, the photographer says what everyone was thinking.
What a fucking idiot.
Varg is taken in by the police. The Black Circle is officially public and they're in the news all over the place. And sadly for Euronymous, at the same time, the shop has to close down. Euronymous is there with Fast, and he says to him that he's gonna take his taser, paralyze Varg, drag him out to the woods, torture him to death, making a whole snuff film out of it. Pretty long way to say, I want to kill this guy. And a little too detailed. Euronymous goes back into his office, or whatever it is, and gets a call. And the call is from Kerrang! Magazine. They want to get an interview from him, seeing as now the Black Circle is out there, and they want to know more about these guys. He tells them that him and Varg are leaders of the Black Circle. But he is the creator of true Norwegian black metal. He of course takes the time to tell them about their album coming out, De Mysteriis Dom Satanas. I hope I said it right. Then they start asking him about the stuff concerning Dead in the album cover. And when he's being asked this, Euronymous looks over at the photo of Dead, which you can't... It's like behind his head, I think. He looks at the photo, and then we take another cut back to when he's looking over his body. This time we see Euronymous crying over Dead. And after concluding the interview, we cut back to Varg, and this time Varg and Euronymous need to meet. So in this meeting, Euronymous is actually like excited. He's finally getting publicity for his music like he's been wanting all along. Varg, however, isn't very pleased with how much Euronymous is in there, despite him being the one that started the whole, it's like, satanic thing. He was the one that took action anyways. So once again, Varg, of course, is accusing Euronymous of taking credit, which I mean, he technically isn't wrong. Varg brings up he's the one that's been doing everything. Euronymous has been all talk this whole time. Varg threatens, he's like, you know what? I'm the one doing everything anyways. I'm gonna be releasing my music on my own label, quitting Mayhem. Euronymous is trying to talk this over, but Varg is saying to him is that, Euronymous, you have betrayed true black metal. And to this, Jonas has to say, it was all promotion, man. Like, what's the point if we can't sell our music? We need an image to sell. But Varg, of course, says it was real to him. Now, Jonas says it's real to him too, but at a point, you need to come back to reality. It can't just be this. There's gotta be something more to it. And then, to really close things off, Varg tries to give him back the skull necklace.
You can keep that. It's a piece of chicken bone.
I feel like I'd have to look into it more. It's very possible the skull necklace thing was real. Once again, Varg takes one jab and...
Fake as everything else with you.
Now we're here on the street. It's Faust and... whoever the hell has been living with Varg. They don't give him a name. But he tells him about what Euronymous said about killing Varg back in the record shop. Now Euronymous is back home, his girlfriend's waiting for him. And now she seems to be more angry than Euronymous is. She confronts him and says, why do you even bother with Varg anymore? Like, what's the point? She's doing this to see if he's still serious about his dream, you know, becoming this great big metal band. His way of moving on, Euronymous decides to type up a contract for Varg. This contract would give the rights to his music that was released under his label all over to Varg, and he promises to pay back any money he owes. He goes out and drops it into the mailbox, hoping to finally end things with Varg once and for all. We cut to Varg himself. His roommate finally tells him about what Faust told him that Euronymous said about killing him.
But I don't think he means it.
On hearing this, Varg just kind of laughs about it. Something about the laugh though says he's taking this very seriously. Varg gets the contract and he reads it. He's thrown off by one bit at the end though.
Friends.
Yeah, the F word. The kind of person you wouldn't think would say something about murdering you and making a snuff film about it. He quickly signs it and then grabs a knife, getting his roommate telling him, let's go. Varg comes out of a movie rental shop with a copy of none other than Die Hard 2.
Have you seen this? Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, we're gonna say we watched this tonight at my place.
Euronymous is getting his hair cut by his girlfriend, but before the cut can actually start, he tells her to stop. Once again, he starts thinking about dead out in those woods. This time, much less nightmarish. So meanwhile, back with Varg, the roommate decides to pull over to get gas. He tells them the reason they had to stop was they either had to turn back now or get gas so they can keep going. They didn't have enough to go both ways. One issue though, they don't have cash. Varg gives his card to him, saying he'll report it stolen to the police. Now, there's not many reasons you would do that if it wasn't stolen, so yeah. If you know what really happened, you already know what's coming up next. If not, you could probably guess what's gonna happen. Euronymous saying goodnight to his girlfriend, his hair's cut, she's out of here. And then back with Varg, the cars fill up, and they're on their way. So while they're driving, Euronymous starts typing up a newsletter saying that the album is ready and it's gonna be coming out soon. And now Varg is finally there, ringing the bell. It's finally time to end it all. Euronymous is pretty freaked out. He's like, why didn't you just mail back the contract? But Varg said he wanted to get done with as soon as possible. All Euronymous has to do is sign it, and then it's done. Talk about the little end bit about friends that might see each other wherever. Small world. This freaks out Varg though. Euronymous finally goes to get a pen, and this freaks out Varg. He's like, no, you're lying. You're gonna go get your taser. He says Euronymous was just acting like his friend so he could trap him and do what he said. And as you'd guess, Varg takes out his knife and stabs Euronymous. And now we're at another one of the points in the movie with at least how these characters are portrayed is a pretty sad part. I set it up like you want to feel for Euronymous. He was just this dude that wanted to make music with its dark image. And look where it got him. Jonas is telling Varg he should leave and that they can make a thing out of this. This can be the next piece of publicity. Really, he's just trying to get him the hell out of there so he can survive. Varg, however, isn't having it. He's got the keys so Euronymous was locked in. Had this whole thing of Euronymous trying to find his other keys to get out. All the while, Varg gets stirring some chocolate milk. Lucky for Euronymous, he's able to get out, even though he's already been stabbed a bunch. He gets thrown down the stairs. They almost get someone out as he cries for help. Varg quickly knocks them back, and then he proceeds to stab and push Euronymous down the stairs even more. During all this, Varg is taunting him, and then finally, Euronymous has one last little speech to try to save his life. He's asking why is he doing this.
You're my friend. I just talk.
Varg tells him he's embarrassment and continues to stab him even more. He finally ends it all with one last stab to the head. After this, Varg of course rushes out, and then we get the whole crime scene bit of people taking photos of the body. Jonas' death is all over the news. Here we actually see Knuckle Butcher's back of Hellhammer. Everyone of course is very sad over this. They show everyone crying, being upset. During this montage we also have like bits of the parties and everything they had. And during this we also get like the interrogation scenes about the murders or whatever. Everyone's getting arrested at this time too. They got Faust, and now they're getting onto Varg. They ask about the tape, and of course, the dude didn't ever watch the movie.
It's about someone dying hard twice.
We finally come to a close at this memorial, and of course, the voiceover you're on is pops back in to say, cut the sentimental shit, man. Nothing about this is sad. However, he is the founder of Mayhem and true Norwegian black metal. He had his own label. Now we have what's probably one of the coolest closing lines I've seen in a movie in a while.
What the fuck have you done lately? Poser.
And that was Lords of Chaos. Now, if you couldn't tell from me reviewing it, I enjoy this movie quite a bit actually. The first time I watched it, I liked it. I wasn't like in love with it or anything. It says on here, uncensored director's cut. I'm gonna mess up my light setup for a second. Yeah, but like, my issue with it saying that, it's the exact same thing I saw in the theater, what's on here. In the special features, there's some like previews they put out to advertise the movie that are scenes that were obviously cut from the movie that honestly, I feel like should have been left in. So now I guess I need to rate the movie. Lords of Chaos gets the official Shyboy 616 rating of an 8 out of 10 versus the critical rating of a 7. Like I said, I really enjoy this movie. I like dark movies. I love metal music. I love things that aren't afraid to be kind of dumb. Even though it's like the whole based on truth and lies thing, they kept the truth that they needed to make an interesting movie. The lies or whatever shown throughout, I feel like we're just to like have a little more fun to it so it's not so serious or like feeling kind of pointless, I guess. Because obviously movies need to be entertaining. If movies were totally true to reality, you'd probably be bored. Some things worth noting, Varg Vikernes, Christian, the Count, but he talked a lot about this. He never watched it, but viewers on his YouTube would ask him how true certain things in the movie were. So one thing that's brought up in the movie was about like him being vegetarian, not drinking beer. I think he said that wasn't true at the time. I'm pretty sure he is now. The reason I'm pretty sure is because his channel's been taken down. I'm sure people have uploaded this stuff again, but for the most part, the important information you can get from his channel, people repost it all over the place. Another thing I was like, did you really drink chocolate milk when you went to go stab Euronymous? So that part was fake. And the other thing I saw was the hair, like him having short hair. Varg said he's pretty sure the movie creators, if they're basing that on facts that they found, was when they do autopsies, they would cut the hair. So at no point did Euronymous ever actually cut his hair. I've already said this, the girl was made up. Euronymous never dated anyone during this time. So Varg clearly didn't like the way he's portrayed. Some people were wondering, it's like, so we got this like fat Jew playing him. And the reason Jew, like him still not, he's, come on, they showed him as a Nazi, so he's suffered claims for a while being a neo-Nazi. So the lines between truth and reality, they're honestly not that bad. Like some movies will just straight up lie to it. This one I feel like they just kind of had fun with it, so it's not lying to your face like some other movies will. Why do I give the movie a critical rating of a 7? Well, I can't deny how well made this movie is. The cinematography, I personally think looks great. The acting was fine. I had no issues with it. I think the only reason that I can't rate it higher critically is because of the audience it was trying to sell to. It couldn't decide to go all out with the black metal thing, or if it wanted to try to be a little more open to having different people just wanting to see a biopic, which is kind of weird considering how dark this movie really gets and like how, like, I guess teen comedy it can get sometimes. So it's understandable why people end up like this. With all that said, I would recommend this movie if you had any interest in all going to see it. There's no harm in watching it. And if you're someone that's not even a fan of black metal, if you just want to see another biopic that's nothing like any of the other ones you'll see, definitely give Lords of Chaos a watch.
If you enjoyed what you saw, leave a like, subscribe, and share the video. Don't forget to check out the links in my description so you can keep up with me everywhere else I'm at. I've been Shyboy 616. You've been wonderful. I'll see you next time.